2,
1. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Matt and Fiona Show. Thank you so much. Do you want me to start again? You okay? We did a countdown and everything.
Usually there's a little bit more of a pause.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Matt and Fiona Show. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very happy that you are here. As always, go like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, whatever you do so that you get notified whenever we drop something new, which is typically just every Tuesday. Every Tuesday.
Yep.
All right. First of all, if you are Canadian, happy belated Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was yesterday, and we're feeling very thankful today.
Yes.
Very thankful. If you're American, your Thanksgiving is coming up, and we might do another Thanksgiving episode.
We haven't gone that far yet.
We celebrate
stay tuned,
both.
find it. Yes, we do.
It's not, I feel like last year we gave them 2. So we'll probably give 2 again.
Probably.
You all could be more thankful. Not you, but just you. You know someone who could be more thankful, I'm sure.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah, that's a way better way to phrase it.
Yes.
All right, Fiona, you have a lovely story to share with us today.
Yeah, I have
a tidbit.
Sure, a jumping point. Okay, so.
A jump off point?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just going to start.
Take it away.
I'm taking away.
Take the floor. Feel free to start whenever you're ready. I'm so thankful for you. Oh, we got to stop doing these so late at night.
Oh my gosh, seriously. Okay, so here it is. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. No, in all seriousness, about a week or so ago, I'd mentioned this to you. I had somebody come up to me and just say, why are you just always so happy and just full of life and energetic? And in this situation, I guess that's kind of the case. I don't necessarily view myself like that always. However, it is generally the case. And when that person asked the question, instead of giving that, there's a lot of things you can say generically and, simple thing, you could, I didn't want to just say, well, because of Jesus, which although that is true.
Yeah.
It actually made me just stop and think.
Why are you so happy?
I'm getting there.
Sorry, I was doing the thought bubble for your head.
In my brain?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my voice doesn't sound like that, but thank you for the illustration. You don't have to try. I see your brain working. No, but I was asked that question, and I just wanted to step back and reflect on it to give an honest answer. Mm-hmm. And when I took a step back and thought about it, the one answer I came up with was, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for where I am. I'm grateful for what I have. And honestly, I'm just grateful. And in that walk of gratitude, I can be happy and joyful. And all those things that, that person asked me about. And when I followed up on the reflection of that, which that was a very honest, truthful answer, why am I the way I am in certain regards, is honestly, I'm grateful. And I'm going to just quickly tell a story, which I didn't tell you I was going to dive into, but here we go.
I'm excited for this.
I bet you are.
We're all going to hear this together.
Yes. I remember, I've told you this story, it's just been a while. I remember, and this is going back years and years ago, and I've shared some tidbits of, my life and some tidbits of my testimony. And I'm going back probably about 20 years ago or so, and before I met you. Mm-hmm. And I almost came to a crossroad in life, honestly, where I had a choice that either I could be weighed down by the weight of the world, weighed down by troubles, weighed down by problems, weighed down from everything that life threw at me, or I could choose to walk in joy and happiness. And I am so serious when I tell you that there was a day in my life, and I remember it clearly because I don't want to say it was like an epiphany, but for lack of a better term and a phrase, there was a day where I recognized that I had a choice to make. That no matter what I went through, whatever I was going through, whatever I was fighting, whatever I was battling, whatever was in front of me, that I had a choice. And in that, I could either let the situations of life affect me and take me out and steal my joy, my peace, my happiness, and everything. And they were situations that very easily could have stolen my soul. They could have stolen my life. They could have stolen my joy. And I made a decision one day that no matter what, through it all, I was going to fight for my joy, my peace, and my happiness. And I was going to find those things in life that no matter what was going on, that I could be grateful for. And although it was a one-day decision, but it is a decision that I've made every day since that one day. And I have chosen every single day that in all things to be grateful, to be happy, to be joyful, and to not allow life, the punches, to get me down or knock me out. But that I was going to stand, I was going to brace, and I was going to march and fight forward. And, to be honest, this was even a point in time before I had fully come back to the Lord and was fully strong in church and in everything. Coming back definitely helped me with all of that. But it was a turning point of one day where I decided that I was going to be grateful, joyful, and happy no matter what life threw my way.
Yeah.
And by making that conscious decision and not just talk about it or think about it, but make that conscious decision that one day from here on out, I am going to choose how I react. I'm going to choose how I respond, and that my happiness, my joy, my peace, my gratitude, because in everything, in every part of life, it's very easy to pinpoint and focus on everything that's wrong. It's very easy to pinpoint and look at the problems you're having. It's very easy to highlight the issues of the day, of the moment, of the month, of the week, of the year. Problems and issues are easy to highlight. They stand out like a sore thumb if you're not careful. But if you choose to focus on the good, no matter how small or minuscule it is, when you transition yourself to make that your focal point, then the ability to walk out with a grateful heart changes everything. And so back to that question that was asked of me, why are you the way you are? And sometimes I look at it and I don't see myself the way other people see me. And I'm sure we all have that. But with that one question of why are you so full of energy and joyful and alive? And my honest to God response when I actually reflected on that question to give an honest answer was gratitude. And so I felt very fitting being that for us. I mean, we're recording this before Thanksgiving, so we have it ready for you. But our Thanksgiving, as of today, was yesterday. And as we are in our Canadian Thanksgiving time frame, gratitude is something that no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, no matter what your life looks like, the fact that you still have a life right now is something that you can find gratitude in. And it doesn't matter how small it is. And one of the, things that I've done with the kids and I've done for myself, and I know many people have made this challenge. Try to start writing down, start anywhere with anything of things that you're grateful for, because it's very easy to point out problems. It's very easy to point out what's not going right. It's very easy to point out who's offended you, what's gone wrong, who hasn't done you right. Those things are easy. That you don't need help figuring those things out. But what you need to do is you need to transition and train your mind and your brain and your heart to find those things that you are grateful for. And when you start that and you do it consistently and you work at it and you make that decision, because it is a decision, you have to decide that you're going to be grateful in life. You have to decide, as simple as I'm always going to decide that I'm grateful for my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Those days that, and I was actually just talking about it today, earlier today, not with you and not about you.
Wonderful.
So you're safe. You don't worry about it. But I was sitting earlier today and just, work, homeschool, business, house, laundry, dinner. I was just talking about how earlier today about there are some days that I look at my list of things to do. I look at the needs and requirements of everybody else from me. And if I'm not careful, I can be overwhelmed, overstimulated. And I need to remember that in those times, instead of being brought down or being overtaken by all of that, the reason I'm overstimulated is because of so many things that I am capable of being grateful for.
Right.
And when you can try to work and shift your mindset instead of how much work all of this is, and oh my goodness, I have to make dinner again. What are we going to have?
What are we going to pick out of the full freezer?
But not only that, I have the ability to, choose what I want.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually in charge of it. And as much as I consider other people, if it's something I don't like, I'm not making it. Period. I have final say in it. And that overstimulation of the constant of the kids and the touching and the sound and the noise. I have my kids who are alive and who are full of energy and vigor, and they are absolutely incredible. And I have you to come home to.
Yeah.
And I get to be home many days for you to come home to. So instead of being overwhelmed, and this is personal for me, to be honest, instead of being, and there are days I'm overwhelmed, I'm working on it still. I didn't say this is perfect, but instead of being overwhelmed by life, I get to shift my focus to recognize that I get to be grateful for everything that overwhelms me. I have that overwhelming feeling because of the love and of the family that I have.
Yeah.
And when you can work at shifting, and this isn't to say that life is perfect, because we have dreams and plans and we want to go places still that we haven't met or gotten to. But instead of getting frustrated about being overworked, overstimulated, over-touching, over-noise, I have that gratitude of I get to keep my kids with me every day and watch them grow. I get to have family dinners at our kitchen table every night. And I have so much to be grateful for. I didn't always, and I'll preface this because I know you have stuff to say.
No, go ahead.
This
can be your show.
I didn't start finding, how can I put this? I didn't find ways to be grateful in the good times, but my search for gratitude started when I didn't have a lot to be grateful for. And so yes, right now I have a lot to be grateful for, but my journey of making sure that I found gratitude started when I didn't have much at all.
Right.
And I think most of this is just to encourage that it doesn't matter where you are in life, what you have going on that isn't what you want, what has happened to you. and I'm just going to throw this in. This is a side bit from all of this. In order to find gratitude, there's one thing that I needed to do first before I could walk and have a heart of gratitude. And there were certain things in life and people in life I had to forgive, including myself. And me being able to find gratitude in life in a time when, if you looked at my life, you would have thought I was crazy to have gratitude. But it did. It started with forgiveness. And I honestly don't think I recognize that connection until I'm talking about it now. Here it is. But my walk of gratitude and gratefulness, it started when I didn't have much to be grateful for. So for anybody who's listening or watching, and I've had people tell me, well, you have a lot to be grateful for, and I do. Even when you have a lot to be grateful for, if you don't choose gratitude, it is so hard to focus on it's so easy, I should say, to focus on the problems. But my gratitude started not when I had what I have today, but it started before I had much to be grateful for.
Oh, are you good?
I'm sure, but I know you have some stuff to say.
No,
you're good. Go. I'll chime in a minute.
One of the things that you said that...
4 or 5. Go ahead.
One of the things you said that was really thought-provoking was we have the luxury of being stressed out over things we have.
Yeah.
Right? I remember... I don't think I fully grasped being thankful and gratitude, right? Even if I didn't necessarily think of them in this manner until, gosh, I'm trying to think how old I was. I think I was like 18 maybe.
Okay.
And we went on a mission trip to Peru.
Oh.
And we were staying in Lima, but then we were out in the, we were doing work at an orphanage, like an hour and a half outside, kind of in the slums. And we ended up we'd go to the orphanage during the day, and those kids were the happiest kids I'd ever seen. Right?
Right.
Even to this day. Like, our kids are happy. These kids made our kids look morose.
Wow.
Right? Like, they were beside themselves when people came to do things and help out at the orphanage, right? So we built a bakery and all these things, and like, they were just, I couldn't comprehend it. And then we went to a couple of churches, and calling them churches is, and again, I don't mean this in a negative way, but just, you got to remember, this is a third world country that had just come out of, what's the term? They had been run by a dictator up until like 5 years before this. So it was very suppressed, right? You couldn't openly practice at that time previously. So this was still fairly new, right? And we'd walk into these church buildings, and again, they were just a building.
They were a gathering
Just a gathering place. Yep.
Yeah.
They didn't have a stage. Half the time they didn't have technology. They might have had a microphone and a single speaker, right? There was no overhead projectors. There was no smoke. There was no lights. Heck, half the time there wasn't chairs, right? And when there was chairs, they were white plastic lawn chairs.
Right.
Right? And we would talk to people, and they would have, some of them came from around the corner. Some of them walked for 3 hours to come to this service, right? Because they couldn't get a bus or something else, or the bus was full, so they walked. And it just changed my perspective on everything that we have, right? You had the kids at the orphanage who, again, we brought them some clothes and some toiletries and stuff like that. And like, they got a toothbrush, and it was the first toothbrush they'd ever had, right? Like, it was just, And that wasn't even out in the middle of nowhere, right? Because you can do that all over the place as well. But it changes your perspective when you look at that, right?
Right.
And when you were talking about being grateful for all the things you have, that also stress you out.
Right.
But you have to remember that, as today I was scheduling an appointment for one of the vehicles.
All right.
And I'm doing the juggling act in my head of like, all right, we got to deal with this, this, and this, and this, and this. And I got to drop it off then, which means we only have one. And okay, yeah, we haven't even talked about this yet.
Nope.
But I'm working it out in my head of how we're going to manage that. And again, as you're talking about it, I'm going through this sort of, well, we're also recording.
Right.
How I can be stressed out over that, right? A little bit. Or I can be incredibly grateful that not only do we have, 2 vehicles.
Right.
So we can make those easy adjustments. Because I remember when we just had one.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when I didn't have one.
Yep.
I can also, look at it at that level. I can look at it at the fact that I'm so thankful for our mechanic and their company because they fit us in every time.
Right.
I just have to ask. And they make moves to make it happen. Right. And it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and not realize how grateful you should be for those things.
Right.
But it's a sombering and humbling thing to look at.
Absolutely.
And realize that. I wanted to say one thing. I guess I already said a bunch, but I wanted to add one thing that is not unrelated, but just interesting. Because every time we talk about thankfulness or gratitude or all those other things, there's a lot of, dare I say, warm and fuzzy thankfulness and gratitude verses and all of those things. And they're fantastic, right? Psalm 102, I think it is the one everybody knows, right? I was looking, as we're getting ready for this, I was looking for something that was a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Right.
Right. And I went into 1 Timothy, and it's Paul talking, and he says, I thank Jesus Christ our Lord, who has given me the strength to do his work. He considered me trustworthy and appointed me to serve him, even though I used to blaspheme the name of Christ. In my insolence, I persecuted his people, but God had mercy on me because I did it in ignorance and unbelief. Oh, how generous and gracious our Lord was. He filled me with the faith and love that comes from Jesus Christ. And I was trying to find something that was a little bit more substantial.
Right.
And not the warm and fuzzy, give thanks with a grateful heart.
Right.
Which we should do and which is important.
Right.
But I wanted to find a verse that would kind of dovetail into gratitude and Brandon Lake's song, because we love that song. It's very fitting.
Right.
It's simplistic in its message, right?
Yes.
But it's also incredibly deep when you actually go and read the lyrics. And it's our youngest's favorite song, so I hear it all the time.
Right.
Whether it's Brandon singing or Noah singing.
Yeah.
Almost indistinguishable, I'll have you know. Brandon's great. Noah's right there with him.
Yeah. Just don't let him know that.
Yeah, he's fine. But this one really stuck out to me.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's from the New Living, but it's one of those things that I continually come back to when we talk about thankfulness and gratitude and that any of those concepts, right? The core of our thankfulness or our gratitude comes from his love for us, right? And all the other stuff, well, it's important, and well, it's important to remember. None of that would be there if he didn't see that in us. And I think so often, again, it's easy to get caught up in the warm fuzzy. It's easy to go around the table and do the, well, Johnny, what are you thankful for? I'm thankful for mashed potatoes.
Right.
And again, that's wonderful. And it's a wonderful exercise to do. But as we work with our kids on this, and as you learn so much about how you think and what you're thinking about when you're trying to teach your kids it.
Yeah.
Right? I always find that I'm trying to, when I ask them a question about this, what are you thankful for? I'm trying to get them to think bigger, deeper, right? Not just I'm thankful for my cars or my Legos,
right?
Or, whatever simple things is, right? I'm thankful for snow. Wait, that was me, not the kids. But that's one of those verses that I think if you kind of meditate on it a little bit, it's really, really deep in the sense of not just I'm a sinner saved by grace.
Right.
But Paul's talking about what he used to do and how thankful he is that the Lord forgave him, saved him, is trusting him to use him, even all the terrible things he did.
Right.
Right. And I think that's, I've already said dovetail, but I'm going to say it again.
You do it again.
That is the third time I've used it on a show today. That dovetails really nicely with what you were saying about, you had to be grateful. You had to forgive yourself. You had to forgive others. You had to do that. Right.
Yep.
And that verse or that passage shows that, again, Jesus has set this example, right? Countless times, because there's countless versions of this story, whether it's about Paul or anyone else, right? Mm-hmm. That if you're not grateful for what God did for you, if that's not a core of your being, can you really be grateful for anything else?
Well, and I think what it comes down to when you think about it, and as you said, when you hear the word thankful or gratitude or gratefulness, I often feel as though we think about it in such simplistic terms of making line list items of what we're grateful for, not recognizing the fact that having a heart of gratitude is in fact a heart condition and a choice. And, the reality of it is to learn how to walk in great gratitude is not easy.
No.
Writing a list of what you're grateful for in that moment when you're focused on it, that shouldn't be too hard. If you were to come up with 5 or 10 things. Yeah. But the actual attitude and heart condition of walking out your walk with gratitude and gratefulness for what you have and what God's done for you takes work, effort, and it is a conscious decision and choice. And I know I said it earlier that I made a decision one day, but it is a decision that I need to make every single day.
Yep.
And sometimes multiple times a day. Because when you can walk in gratitude, the Lord can work inside of you more so than when you're whining, complaining, and sorrowful. Even if what you have going on in life warrants you to be whiny, miserable, and sorrowful. Again, just reality.
Yeah.
Being as real as I possibly can. But when you can take a step back and you can choose to walk in it with a grateful heart and be grateful to Jesus Christ for who you are, for who he is, and for what he's done for you. Right? And you can shift your focus. There's always, simplistic put, and this is kind of overstepping it a little bit, but just bear with me for a second. The Bible clearly says, I put before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Choose life. When you walk in pity and sorrow and you walk in ungratefulness, you are not choosing that life portion of that verse. But when you can find and walk through life with a grateful heart, You are choosing life. And that decision and that choice is not an easy one. But once you've made that decision, every day that choice gets easier because you've had practice with it and you can do it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And as you said with Peru, you know, you are looking at children who, to our estimation, have absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But yet in it, they are joyful and happy. Happiness doesn't come from things and situations and place. It comes from inside of you. And again, like I said, for those of you who know where I came from, what I've been through, what's gone on, I found that heart of gratitude and I built on it at a time. And I had a roof over my head and I had, whatnot. There are a lot of other situations, but I found a way to walk out a walk of gratitude in a time when I didn't have what I have now.
Yeah.
And when we talked about this, I just want to, everything we do, honestly, is to try to hope to encourage, whether it's encourage you to be a better Christian, whether it's encourage you to search within yourself to reevaluate or strengthen or walk out the walk the way that Jesus wants you to. But today I wanted to encourage you to, no matter where you are or what you're going through, instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on what you do have. And don't allow your blessings, because so often we can allow our blessings to become burdens and we lose our gratitude. Don't allow our blessings to become burdens, but walk out that gratefulness, that gratitude, and choose to do so, because there's so much life when you do actually choose to walk out that gratefulness. It's not the simplicity of that term, grateful and gratitude. You're not just looking at the definition. You're looking at that heart condition.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's it. All right, we are going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us today. As we mentioned at the top again, do us a favor, like, share, subscribe, all those things. It really helps us, helps you, helps everybody, helps the algorithms. I don't know. All right. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week on another episode of The Matt and Fiona Show. See ya.
Bye now.